Hi guys, I'm just wandering around this old ruined church, and I'm sort of wrecking the church out, looking for good good angles to shoot from. And it's a really one of those little tucked out the way locations, and there's loads of old ruined archways. There's trees growing out the church. The light's really nice, got this stunning low evening sunlight. So I'm just having a wander around now and seeing what we can find. When I've settled on a composition, I'll set the tripod up and I'll talk you through it. But look, you can see in the background we've got all these lovely archways with ivy growing over it. It looks fantastic. Look at that. Okay, I'm going to wander around here a little bit. Okay, so show you what we can see. We've got a tree literally growing in the middle of the church here. It's fabulous. And then if I spin around a little bit, we've also got these trees in the background here. And if I keep going forwards, you'll see that they'll be framed by one of the archways. And look at that, isn't that great? So in a minute I'm going to set up a composition here. I think it's looking really good. Right, hi all. I'm in Norfolk today and I'm at a ruined church, and it's an absolutely fantastic location. It's got bags of atmosphere, and the reason I love this church is because you've got all the ruins of the church, but nature is taking it back. It's being overgrown by all this ivy, and there's trees growing in the middle of it, and it's just a fantastic location. And if I step out the way, you can see what we've got here. So we've got at the moment, the composition I'm looking at is this archway in the background, and it frames those two big trees. And I really think this works quite well because I've got a little bit of light on the trees in the background. There's a little bit of light coming through on the ground as well, so it adds a little bit of interest in the foreground. So I think this works really well. Now, if I was just without those two trees in the background, I don't think it will be a composition, or not one that I would shoot anyway, because what we've got here is a really interesting archway, a ruined arch with all this lovely ivy growing over it, but it leads you in to the trees in the background. So we've got a little bit of light in the foreground before we get to the arch. We've got the arch creating some interest, and then we've got a focal point in the background, so you're drawn into the picture, and that creates depth. So I think it works really well. Without the trees, essentially all you've got is a ruined arch with some ivy over it, which would be okay, but it wouldn't be anywhere near as interesting. So this is my start composition, and I'm shooting at various focal lengths. So I'm coming in quite tight on just the arch and the trees. Then I'm zooming out a little bit to get the arch, the trees, and then above the arch obviously the trees are still growing, so a slightly wider composition. I might have to crop a bit off the foreground. So there's various compositions here for me to look at, and I've got my 24-70 f2.8 zoom lens on, so that gives me ability to zoom in and out and change that composition. I could of course move backwards and forwards if I had a fixed lens, and I would do that, and that would be no problem. But I love my 24-70. I think it's a really good focal length. So it's wide angle at one end, slight telephoto at the other end, and it gives you lots of different cropping options. So it's looking good. I'm here about, I don't know, an hour and a half, 2 hours before sunset, and I've got some directional sunlight, which is really nice. But what I didn't want is that sun to be too strong and too bright, so that's why I'm here now. I wanted some directional sunlight, which we've got on the trees in the background and in the foreground as well, but I didn't want it to be really harsh. So if I'd have shot on maybe 2 or 3 hours earlier in the day, the dark areas, the shadows, would be really dark, and the bright areas on the trees would be really bright, and it would be really hard for the camera to record all of that detail. Not only that, the picture would look too harsh. I could take 2 pictures and combine them in Photoshop and produce an HDR image, high dynamic range, but I actually like the feel of this soft light, so that's why I'm here now. Depth of field wise, I'm on f11 because there's not a huge depth of field in this picture. I've basically got a little bit before the arch, I've got the archway, and I've got the trees in the background, so it's all looking good. And then I'm going to take a good look at my histogram to make sure that my highlight detail and my shadow detail is recorded within that dynamic range of my camera. So it's all looking good. This is an absolutely fantastic location, and I love it because of the atmosphere that is created. This sort of church is slowly being taken back to nature, and all this ivy and the trees growing through it, it just looks fantastic. And it's one of those little tucked away locations, so it's not one of the big iconic locations in Norfolk like Haysborough Lighthouse or one of the wind pumps, which I'm definitely going to be photographing, or the windmills. But this is a little tucked away location, and I think it's got just lots and lots of atmosphere. And I actually think this picture will look great in colour or black and white, and I might do a black and white conversion and also put this on the end of this vlog as well. So after I've shot this picture, I'm going to have a wander around, maybe take a few more compositions. Anything I'm going to put on the end of this vlog. So I think that's about it for now, guys. Oh, just before I forget as well, as the light's dropping, my shutter speed now at f11 is about 1/8 of a second. So rather than press the shutter button and maybe add a bit of camera shake, I'm using cable release. So that stops me having to press the shutter and add in a bit of shake. I've also got mirror lock up on, and basically what that means is the mirror is going to flip out the way, and then I'm going to wait a couple of seconds and then hit the remote release again and to take the picture. So you press the button once to move the mirror out the way, second time to actually take the picture, and that means we're not going to get any internal vibrations creating shake from the mirror flipping up out the way. So press it once, mirror pops out the way, press it again, take the picture. And I think well, I know I've got some good pictures because I've already taken some, and we've just taken another one now, and it's all looking good. So I'll speak to you soon. Hi guys, I'm just about finished now. I've had a really great afternoon. So my main composition were those 2 trees that are in the background at the moment, framed by the archway. I wandered around the rest of the ruins though, and I've got some really nice shots inside the church. There's another big tree growing right up in the middle of the church, so that's really good. I've tried a couple of slow shutter speed shots as well. The light's been fantastic, so I'm really pleased with what I've got. So I hope you've enjoyed this vlog. If you have enjoyed it and you haven't already, perhaps you can consider subscribing to my channel, and if you do subscribe, press the little bell icon so that you're notified when I upload my next vlog. And also, if you have liked it, perhaps you can press the little like button. So I think that's about it now. I'm off to get something to eat, so Hope you've enjoyed this. Thanks for watching and listening, and I'll speak to you soon, guys. Bye for now.